Hey, my decision makers. Today, I want to first remind you that I am here to help you dump the stress of self doubt to lead the life you really want. Again, dump the stress of self doubt to lead the life you really want. A friend of mine a couple weeks ago mentioned his his interpretation of the statement we've all heard of you are what you eat. And his take, which I really liked, it really spoke to me, was if you substitute the word eat for consume, which fits, what we eat, we consume, it expands that sentence so much farther. If you look at it as we are what we consume, it can change a lot of our interpretation. Because what I consume now becomes everything I look at. My brain consumes it, be it books I read, TV shows I watch, social media, the endless scrolling of social media. I do this because I think social media, actually there could be a lot of them, right? Because social media could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, it could be Twitter, it could be YouTube. People do get down the YouTube rabbit hole, right? So there's YouTube, there's Gab, there's Tumblr, there's Rumble, I think. I mean, how much consumption are we doing these days? And do we have the ability to do these days? I don't consume all of that I just said. I do consume some of it. And everything we're consuming is going straight in there if we are not using boundaries and healthy self-esteem. And here's again how those are linked. If I'm scrolling through Instagram, let's say, and I'm not on Instagram a lot, I'm not gonna lie. I do use it for my business, so yes, I'm posting there a lot. I don't endlessly or mindlessly scroll there. If I'm mindlessly scrolling, I'm on Facebook. This really came to my mind though because I teach people this stuff. I live this stuff, boundaries and self-esteem. I know how this stuff affects us. And there was a night that my kids were getting ready for bed, and I was doing that mindless scrolling on Instagram. And everyone's feed is different. I get that. And I started feeling pretty crappy. I went into comparison. She's prettier than me. She has more followers than me. She has this. She has this. And I caught myself and I shut the app. If we are not using our healthy boundaries, I don't have to absorb everything that comes at me. The other piece of healthy boundaries is I don't have to speak everything I think. So there's the containing boundary and the protective boundary. If we're looking at social media, it's that protective boundary. I don't have to absorb or consume everything that comes at me. Now, that's if I'm already there, and that's really, really working my boundary of, okay, this one's affecting me, don't look at it. This one's affecting me, don't look at it. There's the other option of not going there at all. Yes, I actually do recommend for some of my clients get off social media. If you have to get off it, that's a boundary. Because boundaries are also how do we protect our time and our space and our hobbies. If we're on social media that much, we may not even have time for other hobbies. Reading a book, knitting. Some people knit, right? I don't, but I know a lot of people do. Being outside, horseback riding. If we're bogged down with social media, we don't have time for all that other stuff. Time. How do we protect our time? If we're being affected by these things, we need to walk away from them. Or work your boundaries pretty well. You guys know that my boundaries are monster truck tires. So I literally have this image that comes up for me right here of these monster truck tires, and then I don't absorb the stuff that comes at me the same way. When I absorb stuff that is not good for me, that I disagree with or don't appreciate, or she's prettier than me or whatever, then I also go into lesser self-esteem. This is what I mean by how these two are linked. If I absorb too much of my boundaries, I go less than in my self-esteem. And it is hard work to bring myself up into my healthy center of equality. I'm enough and I matter in spite of my flaws and imperfections. I am not less than this person just because she's prettier. I do not have less value than she does just because she's prettier. That's attribute esteem, if you guys remember that one. Attribute esteem is how I look at myself, my worth and my value stems directly from what my attributes are. Am I pretty enough? Is my hair done well enough? Or is my hair long enough? Is my hair short enough? Is my makeup on? Am I tall enough? Am I too tall? Those are all attributes, and they can be affecting our self-esteem. Maybe I feel less than other people because I'm so short. I'm only 5'1.5". That half matters. See, that's why I say I'm 5'1.5". These are boundaries and self-esteem and how they fit right together. We are what we consume. So what are we letting in? Again, those boundaries can be actual tangible. Don't do these things. Limit your time on social media. Do this instead, do this instead. Those are tangible boundaries, concrete boundaries. Or they can be the emotional ones that as I'm reading through the stuff, I don't let it affect me. I don't let what I'm seeing and reading online affect how I value myself and where my worth comes from. Because I have worth because I was born. Period. I have worth because I was born. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. These are her strengths or his. These are her weaknesses or his weaknesses. And oftentimes, by the way, the people we're comparing ourselves to are not even three-dimensional enough that we know that they have weaknesses, because all we're seeing are their strengths. So there's another downside, for lack of a better term, but the reality of social media is that we end up comparing our weaknesses to someone else's strengths because we lose our boundaries and we go into unhealthy self-esteem. Because also by going here, we are very likely, here's the work. To go from here into healthy takes work. What do we usually do? Oh, I'm not X, Y, or Z. You're X, Y, or Z. Or maybe I think this. I didn't, but maybe I think this. Oh, I'm not as, I have less value because she's prettier. Actually, let's use this one. It'll make more sense. I have less value because she has more followers on social media. So woe is me. I stink. And then I might bounce into, well, I have less followers because I'm spending more time with my family. She must be not spending time with her family, keeping herself away, being selfish, and only focusing on her business. So basically, me being up here means I'm better than her because of this. So please keep in mind moving forward, we are what we consume. Whatever we let in becomes a part of us, and then we respond to it. So the answer is healthy boundaries and healthy self-esteem. I'm enough and I matter in spite of my flaws and imperfections. I can hold myself in warm regard in spite of my flaws and imperfections. I'm allowed to have flaws and imperfections. I'm allowed to mess up. I am human. I can accept my humanness, and I can accept your humanness as well. Take care. I'll be back later.